Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm finding out how many copycats I need to defeat Martin. The copycat moves like whichever piece the opponent just played, and I'm going to really try to win with only one copycat. Let's get started with game number one. Alright, game number one, as you can see I have one copycat on the board. It can move like every piece, but I will only move it like the piece that Martin just moved. Now for the first move, I will pick what I'm going to play, and I think broadly speaking, the strategy is going to be keep the copycat really close to the enemy king, and eventually, just because it's Martin, free pieces need to start flying, and eventually the king will become weakened enough that there will be checkmating ideas. So if it's really just a game of probability, and kind of waiting for Martin to move quote-unquote the right piece for me to get checkmate, then I'd imagine I want the copycat really close to the king. But, and this has just occurred to me, if I move this copycat too close, say d5 or h5, and Martin gets the idea of moving a pawn, I will have no choice but to advance the copycat into danger. Okay, so maybe at the beginning the strategy is to be a little bit more reserved. Actually, it's occurred to me now that if by some horrible chance, let's say I move my copycat to d3 and Martin moves a pawn 3 times, I'm gonna have to go 1, 2, 3 and march that copycat right to the end of the board. But okay, I can't just play scared the entire time. I will start by developing my copycat, and the most Martin-y move ever is played. We get knight to h6, so I have to move the copycat like a knight. And I think I'm just going to hang out for a little bit. I think this is going to be like the Goldilocks zone, because it's unlikely enough that Martin is going to get like 2 pawns in a row, but I'm also close enough that if, free pieces start to hang, I will be present to capture them. So I'm going to move my copycat to f4, moving it like a knight since Martin just moved a knight himself. Okay. Oh, that's so bad. We do get pawn to a6, which means I do have to advance the copycat to f5. I mean, there's actually, Wait, I've just had a brilliant idea, which is that I still have the king on the board. So although the copycat right now can only move as a pawn moves, my king, who is not in any danger, can just make a waiting move. Okay, that's 10 times better. Plus, we get g5 right after, so now I want to move this like a pawn, and I can capture on g5, and we get f5 to follow, which actually isn't that great. If I could move this copycat however I pleased, this looks really interesting, but it can only move like a pawn because Martin just moved a pawn himself. I could take on h6, and there's a very non-zero chance that the bishop won't even recapture because it's Martin. I could also play it safe and just move the king back, buy some more time until some guaranteed free pieces start to appear on the board. But it's Martin. There's no way. Surely I can take here for free. Nice. Okay, a5 is a little bit concerning because now it can only move like a pawn, which means for the foreseeable future, it is stuck on h6, which means the chances that Martin will take back are slowly starting to increase. But I will move the king out of the way. Ooh, okay, we get another pawn move, which means the copycat is still stuck on h6. I wonder if I should advance the king, right? Because if I advance the king instead of just waiting around on the back rank, it can actually assist in giving checkmate to the enemy king, and I don't just have to wait for all of these pieces to be free. I am still also quite a bit concerned about this, because I can only move it like a pawn since Martin just moved a pawn himself. Okay, so in my head, I need everybody in battle that I can get. Let's go king to f2. No! Martin has wisened up and eliminated my copycat. Now, okay, the structure of this video was supposed to be that I would add 1 copycat each game, but I'm too hard-headed, and frankly, I believe that I can beat Martin with a little bit more luck and maybe a better strategy with a single copycat. So let's try that again. All right, back to the starting position, 1 copycat on the board. I'm gonna be a little more reserved this time, and I'm definitely not gonna take any pieces that are protected because I have no guarantee that I can get out of there later and I won't just get taken back. So, okay, we'll play it a little bit more safe, but I will advance my king. It's funny too, I could move the king to e2 because if we're checked and this fork happens, I can move this like a knight and take back. But there's no need to overcomplicate this. I'm just going to move the king up. We get pawn to g6. And I think I'm just going to bring everybody into battle. Pawn to f5, sure. We'll advance the copycat 1 square like a pawn. Knight to h6 means I can move this like a knight. We'll move it to d5. And I don't have to be afraid of moving this quote-unquote too close to the enemy position because like I've so brilliantly figured out, I don't have to move the copycat. So if it moves a pawn, if Martin moves a pawn, then I don't have to move the copycat into danger. I can just make a move with my king instead. Again, this is a little bit risky because I'm bringing everybody into battle, but okay, so far so good. We get rook to b8, so I can move this like a rook. I really don't see anywhere that I'd want to move it, and I'm also a little bit scared about moving my king too deep into the enemy lines, because I don't know, something like e6 gives check, hits the copycat, and my position falls apart spectacularly quickly. So I also don't want to move my king back though, so I'm going to make a waiting move with my copycat, move it to c5, knight to a5, looks like a free knight, but I can only move my copycat like a knight now. So now I'm definitely going to make a waiting move, and I think I'm just going to move the king back in hopes that, I don't know, it moves a rook. I was going to say moves a queen, but that's literally impossible. So I guess in the hopes that it moves a rook so I can take on a5. So Martin, if you're listening, please move a rook. As he's not listening. We get knight to f7 instead. I could move this copycat like a knight, but again, I don't want to just put it in danger for no reason. I've already seen that end horribly for me. So okay, I think I have to buy a little bit more time. Knight to d6 doesn't really change much. It's just moving around like a knight. Okay, and the knight goes back to safety. Our window of opportunity has, in fact, disappeared. Martin is actually playing this really well. I mean, if this were a normal game of chess, you know, this is kind of this is kind of random, but since it's just playing against my copycat, it's really not the end of the world. So I guess I'm just waiting again. Here comes the king, which means I can move my copycat like a king, which I will actually do. Pawn to e6. Now we've met another problem, which is that Martin can put my copycat in danger, and I can only move the copycat away like the piece that put me in danger, which in this case is a pawn, which means might as well just take. Okay, I mean, there was no other way out of that. So we get knight to c4, which means I can move the copycat like a knight, and I will move it out of danger. We get bishop to e7, which means I can move my copycat like a bishop. Super tempting. Of course it's defended, but there's a very real chance that Martin doesn't take back. But okay, I've already learned my lesson. I'm gonna wait around again. Bishop to a3. He tempts me. He definitely tempts me. We'll wait around again, I guess. There we go. Bishop goes back. Ooh, wait a minute. Does Martin know what I'm doing? Because this is really interesting, actually. If I take the rook, if I take the rook, it would actually put the king in check. And even though my copycat doesn't move like a knight, Martin doesn't know that. Martin only knows that my copycat is putting the king in check. But okay, I'll just use it to my advantage. I can take here. Martin thinks he's in check, so he moves back, which means I can move the copycat like a king, which means, of course, I'm going to take on h7. Knight moves to e3. Yeah, definitely nowhere that I want to move this copycat like a knight. So we're waiting around with the king. We'll target the knight, who does jump away. Again, still don't want to move the copycat like a knight, so I will harass this knight with my king. We get a pawn move. I could, quote unquote, promote my copycat. Oh, that would have been such a cool idea if I could promote the copycat, because it's on the 7th rank and it's moving like a pawn, so surely it should follow the pawn rules. But okay, that's how we'll even out the fact that Martin didn't know he was in check. There's no promotion for the copycat just stays a copycat. Let's harass this knight. Oh, queen to g5. I cannot take this because that would not be moving like a queen, but I can take the knight. We get bishop to d6. I don't think. I was gonna say I don't think I want to move my copycat like a bishop, but if I move it to g8, Martin doesn't know that it's not checkmate, so I can play this. Bishop has to come back. I guess then I would just be able to move the copycat like a bishop, which doesn't really do much for me. I'm also a little bit scared of this because my king is in the nude at the moment, and there are pieces getting developed suspiciously close to his weakened squares. But okay, we'll toss this check on the board. Martin doesn't know any better, so he moves the bishop back, and now it's just one queen on my king, who surely, I think, can't checkmate me. So we'll just wait around a little bit. Queen goes back, which means I can move the copycat like a queen, and I can take on g6, which is checkmate. We cover e7 like a knight, give check like a queen. With that, we do defeat Martin with the copycat piece. If you guys did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know down below if you have any ideas for your own chess piece. I've been working on one called the Tesseract, which I have some interesting ideas on how it's going to move. But if you have your own ideas, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I would be more than happy to make a video with that piece. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.